Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Friar Talk. Got a quick little update in terms of Robert Suarez. I feel like this really fell under the radar yesterday with the return of Fernando Tatis, but Robert Suarez was also transferred to the 60-day IL, and this is really impactful on this team. I feel like most of the discussions recently have gone to Fernando Tatis's return, Juan Soto, Manny Machado slumping, not really being themselves offensively. Look, all three of those guys are going to be the elite hitters that we know. We don't need to worry about, Juan Soto or Manny Machado bouncing back at the plate. However, when it comes to this bullpen, we have a few names. Brent Honeywell's been amazing. Steven Wilson has been a stud. We have a deep bullpen. However, Robert Suarez showed how important he was last postseason because he's a flamethrower. He's a clear setup man, and they went to him time and time again. So he experienced some tightness in his elbow like a week ago, and now he's going to the 60-day IL. This is a clear sign that they are trying to prevent him from getting Tommy John, and they're just kind of like holding out hope. If he is not healthy, if they don't have a timeline for him to come back by the trade deadline, then they're going to go and need to acquire another bullpen arm. It's not like these guys in the pen aren't good enough, but they need another dominant reliever outside of Josh Hader. So I feel like this is probably one of just like those like underrated stories, but it's really the most impactful story when we're looking at where the Padres are going to be in the postseason because they need another flame-throwing bullpen arm. And Robert Suarez was that guy. He was phenomenal last year. He had a 2.2 ERA. I talked about how good he was in the playoffs, but he came in and outside of, Bryce Harper hitting that absolute monster home run, he was dominant out of the pen in the playoffs, and they need another guy that can come in and be dominant. He got paid because he was so impactful, and it mattered so much in the biggest moments. We saw how important the Padres' strong bullpen was in the playoffs, and they're going to need to replicate that again if they're going to have another deep postseason run. So I think I'm looking at this and I go, look, if he's not back, that is maybe their second need outside of catcher. Of course, I don't want to get into Austin Nolan, the catcher position right now, but that will become one of the biggest needs because they will go and try to get a high-end bullpen arm. Now, the good thing, people talk about the Padres bullpen or the Padres farm system being depleted. The good thing is like you can trade for a bullpen arm relatively easy. But overall, I mean, this really sucks for Robert Suarez. He inked that big deal. I want to say it's a 3-year deal until the opt-outs kick in. And it's just something where you don't want to see it for him. I mean, he took so long to kind of get to the MLB last year, debuting at what was it, 31 years old last year, gets his big break, gets his big deal, and now he's going down and potentially will get Tommy John. So something to definitely monitor. I don't think there's going to be any news on it for like at least a month or two until he tries to start ramping back up. But this is really, really huge for the Padres, and this could be something that will really bite them in the end. Overall, though, let me know what you're thinking. Do you think Robert Suarez is going to return? Do you think this is something that is just a wait and see and hope? And how do you feel about this bullpen if he's not a part of it? I didn't talk about Drew Pomerantz at all. That's because I don't know if Drew Pomerantz is ever returning. I'm not holding out hope for him anymore. But if there's no Suarez, if there's no Palm, how confident are you in this bullpen? Not only throughout the regular season, but come playoff time. Do you think they have guys that are dominant enough to come in, and close out some of these good lineups like the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Astros if you make it to the World Series, the Braves, right? There's a lot of question marks there. I mean, we already saw them blow a game against the Braves earlier this season. So I think this is huge news. I feel like this is probably not going to be talked about too much, but Robert Suarez is a really important piece to the Padres, and he's more important when it comes to playoff time. So we'll see how it pans out, but let me know what you're thinking. How confident are you in this pin if Suarez is not able to return this season?